Beginning with Apollo 15, NASA has a tradition of waking up their astronauts in space each morning with music of their choice. The first song that woke up Space Shuttle Flight 134 was U2's A Beautiful Day. This song, however, was not picked by any of the astronauts like how the morning wake-up songs usually go. It was picked by Commander Mark Kelly's wife, Gabby. She wanted a song of hope and encouragement for her husband as he journeyed into the final frontier. This journey, though, into space was not new for Commander Kelly. This was his fourth and final trip on the space shuttle. But this flight, though, was more difficult for Commander Kelly than the previous three had been for him. Just 4 months earlier, a gunman had tried to assassinate his wife, Gabby Giffords, who was at the time a congresswoman from Arizona. While she survived this attack, she remained in precarious condition for quite some time. And upon hearing this news, Commander Kelly rushed home from space shuttle training in Houston back home to Arizona to be at his wife's side as her life hung in the balance. However, Commander Kelly also felt loyal to NASA and to his space shuttle crew with whom he'd been training with for over a year. And after his wife's health began to improve, Commander Kelly honored his commitment to NASA, and he commanded and led Space Shuttle Flight 134. So as a result, this flight, with all the news about his wife in the news, this space shuttle flight received far more attention than any other flight tended to receive. The launch happened successfully, though, and they went up into space and went to bed and woke up the next morning to U2's A Beautiful Day. And right when Commander Kelly woke up, and right when he heard this song, he knew it was a little message from his wife down on Earth, as she had picked the same song for him when they were dating and he had to go on a previous mission to space. The thing, though, was little did she know that Commander Kelly also had a message for her.
Hello, Seattle, from the International Space Station.
What words would he have to say to us? What would be on Commander Kelly's mind? These people are heroes. What's on your mind, Commander Kelly?
I'm looking forward to coming home. Tell my wife I love her very much. She knows.
Now, this is where I come into the story. Now, admittedly, I wasn't in Seattle that night that video played, but I heard this same message a few nights later at U2's concert in Minneapolis. And in the decade that follows, one of these little phrases that emerged from being at that concert with my wife, Alyssa, is I will tell my wife, I'll say to her, tell my wife I love her very much. And Alyssa replies, she knows. When Alyssa and I say this, we are not just quoting Mark Kelly at the U2 concert, because these words actually originally come from David Bowie's song, A Space Oddity, a song which U2 made into a medley that night with A Beautiful Day. And as I reflect on that magical night from Minneapolis, I cannot help but notice sometimes we need other people's to help give us words to say. There are moments where words just elude us. And as I prepare sermons, I wrestle with how to say something different each Sunday in this season of COVID and political tension, like with the impeachment trial that has gone on this past week. And this week has felt especially difficult for me. As I prepared for this sermon on U2, a band suggested by Brian Litke. In his request for U2, Brian said, "There are so many good U2 songs to pick about the intersection of popular music and faith." And he wasn't joking. As I started to prepare this sermon, I didn't even know where to start. And after hours of listening to U2 on my present road trip, as I drove to California to see my parents in a very COVID-safe outside way, because I haven't seen my parents since Thanksgiving 2019, and then as I've driven back, I'm presently in Santa Fe, New Mexico. As you can tell, I'm not in the Atonement sanctuary right now. On this drive there and back, I've been listening to a lot of U2 to prepare for this message, and kind of an unexpected album has been standing out to me. It's their third album from 1983 called War. Not only is War one of U2's earliest albums, but it's by far their harshest sounding album. So much of U2 is marked by an ambient sound coming from a lot of delay and echo effects coming from the edge, their guitarist's guitar. And in contrast, War has, no pun intended, quite an edge to it. It has hues of punk and arena rock as U2 wrestle with the reality that at the time they felt like everywhere they turned, there seemed to be war and conflict. And this album begins with one of U2's angriest and most despairing songs, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Reflecting on the Northern Ireland conflict that was raging at the time, their singer Bono laments, "How long must we sing this song?" And while War, and especially this song, Sunday, Bloody Sunday, sounds like an album from the 80s, much of what's addressed in this album feels disturbingly relevant to today. In Sunday, Bloody Sunday, Bono describes a world where fact is fiction and TV reality. And with trenches dug in our hearts, how do we escape this cycle from which we find ourselves? Or as how Bono puts it, how long must we sing this song? This question comes up in as many words, recurring as a theme throughout this album. We don't get any answers to Bono's question until we get to the final song, the 10th song on this album, song titled 40. This song is a slight modification of Psalm 40. In it, Bono sings, "I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined and heard my cry. He lifted me up out of the pits, out of the miry clay. I will sing a new song." And after 9 songs of anger and lament and crying out to God, Bono declares that God has heard his cries, and God has lifted him from the war-torn world in which he finds himself, and gave him a new song to sing. A song not only of his own words, because Bono didn't have anything to say, but the words of the psalmist. Dietrich Bonhoeffer says the book of Psalms are this book where we pray God's words back to God. And in this song, Bono is doing just that. And I think that this is no coincidence that this song comes at the end of this album, at the end of these songs of rage and lament. And in the subsequent albums that U2 releases, their songs are soaring and hopeful. Songs like Pride, In the Name of Love, and Beautiful Day and Where the Streets Have No Name. It is as if young U2 realized in wrestling and crying out to God, God heard their cry and gave them a new song to sing. If you're anything like me, you've wanted to say in this season, how long? How long will COVID last? How long will there be no sense of normal? How long can I see my parents without anxiety? And how long can politics no longer feel so divisive and so violent? And as you ask, how long? Know that God hears you. God hears your cry and is lifting you up out of the pits and out of the miry clay. And God is giving you a new song to sing too. If you're Mark Kelly, the commander of Space Shuttle Flight 134, that song wasn't a song of rage and revenge against the man who tried to kill his wife because he disagreed with her and disliked her politics. Mark Kelly's song came from David Bowie, was Tell My Wife I Love Her Very Much. She knows. And for you too, it was, it's a beautiful day, don't let it get away. We all have a new song to sing, even in seasons like this. A song that God puts on our tongues and fills our lungs with air to sing. A song that God uses to call the world into how God dreams of it being. It may not always be easy to sing this song. It may feel risky, but God is putting a new song on your heart this day. A song that the world needs to hear. How is God calling you this week into healing the cracks and the hurts and the circles of life that we find ourselves? Our homes, our schools, our jobs, our families, our cities, our friendships, our states, our nation. Friends, what song is God inviting you to sing?